Good morning. Would help if I unmuted these things when they needed to be unmuted, right? Welcome back to another couple hours of Procreating Live with me for the world to see. This will be the last day of this piece for Made a Monster, which is on BackerKit until tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last day. Which is a supplement for both 5e D&D and Dungeon Crawl Classics. I know I said I was going to do some homework, but I got some time with one of my boys and took it, so I did not do the homework. Big surprise. I usually don't do the homework, right? But it's also not going to take that long. I'm just going to be thickening some lines, maybe adding a little bit of shiz here and there, and then it's on to shading. But I am Daxula. Dax for short, or is it? Not short though, I'm 6'2". I am an independent artist. I'm also a crew on the Battle Barge, which is an annual tabletop gaming cruise, which you can still get your tickets for the 2026 Battle Barge. There's a link to event.cruise's site in the description down there. I'm also a GM on the side. That's actually what I do on the Battle Barge for the most part, is GM their Wrath and Glory, which is TTRPG based in the Warhammer 40k universe. Warhammer 40k being a copyrighted material and awesome material of Games Workshop. We also do live stream campaigns of Wrath and Glory for the Battle Barge to progress the narrative. It takes place in their setting, Calem's Reach. Ever expanding story in an ever tumultuous sector. As always, if you have any questions, you can feel free to put them in the chat or comments. I'm pretty open. I'll answer just about anything, honestly. Well, I'll answer anything, honestly, that I answer. Of course, you know, personal stuff. There might be some personal things that I'll tell you I'm not going to answer because it's personal. But anything I answer, it'll be truthful. If you want to share your top 5, today's is top 5 cover songs of all time, opinionated. Everything's opinionated here. I'm not telling you how to do things like me. I don't recommend you do things like me. I recommend you do things like yourself. But if there's something some tricks that I can pass along to help you out, I'll be happy to do that. So ask away, give me your top 5. Recommendations for future top 5s are always good. I try to do it spontaneously so that I get myself with it as well. Based on something my old friends and I used to do when we'd go shoot pool. We would call out top 5s. It was a nice way of keeping up with each other, keeping up with ourselves, etc., etc., etc. Where I'm at on this piece is just the line art stage, although this is technically the second line art stage. When I'm doing a piece, it's typically going to be in 4 stages. Typically going to be in 4 stages. This would be the third stage. I may have said fourth. Third of 4 stages is what I meant, which I call the detail phase. It's where I go back over the line art to make sure the right lines are thicker, to make sure that it fits what is needed. This one's supposed to be a quarter page, so I need to make sure that when it's shrunk down to about there, you can still make everything out. Makes sense. It makes sense. You understand. You got it. Head of the class. So that's all I'm doing right now. You want to be able to tell when it's shrunk down that this fur is fur. And today's top 5 is going to be a difficult one. Going to be a difficult one. It's going to be difficult because not only are there just some really good covers out there and really bad covers out there, there are a lot of covers out there, but also there's a lot of songs that you or I may not know are covers. For the longest time, I didn't know, like Girls Just Want to Have Fun, I didn't know that was a cover song for the longest time, so. And especially in country music, for some reason, country music just really likes to cover the little artists, the big artists do. I am right up against that edge. We'll do that. And I'll reiterate the asking of the questions, especially about Procreate. If there's something you want me to explain that I'm doing and I haven't, just remind me, because, I'm an idiot. If there's something that you've not seen me do, you can ask. The odds are I know what it is and how to do it. Been working in Procreate for quite some time. I've been procreating for a long time because I'm old. We could put some veins here as well. One does have veins. Occasionally I slip into Bob Ross mode. Your little veins, your little pulsing veins, your happy veins. If only Bob Ross was a fantasy and sci-fi artist, right? Would actually have been pretty fucking cool. You gotta admit. Oh, am I covered in? I might be covered in flour. I started making Cubanos yesterday, Cuban sandwiches. I pulled my pork, my mojo pork, but I forgot to start my starter for the bread. Yeah, I did everything except remember my starter for the bread. So I did the starter last night. Um, I should have just had a starter. I don't know why I didn't, but made my starter last night. So I started the bread this morning. It's sitting in a bowl, rising as I speak. So tonight, I guess, or maybe a late lunch, I might have Cubanos. Mm. You've never had one, they're so good. This one's going to be with homemade pickles, homemade mojo pork, homemade salsa, homemade Cuban bread. You get the idea. You get the idea. I do just about everything myself. My boys and I had this saying, what is confidence except how little you depend on others? And it's really always held true. And tomorrow we're going to be doing another Space Marine, I think. Yeah, tomorrow we're doing another Space Marine. I got the description the other day for one of the players' characters in the campaign. So we'll be doing another Space Marine token. Yeah. Oh yeah, we still got to do the background on this. I keep forgetting. Sometimes I don't do backgrounds for the quarter pages, but I think they look a lot better that way. It's not going to be anything grand. I'll just use, I might do a little line work and then use some brushes or paint brushes. Let's do that. Her leg may not be that big, but ooh, that sun is hot today. You've seen me on days when it didn't rain and it was super dark. Well, today it's supposed to rain, and look at how damn bright it is. Because Texas. Let me go ahead and make her chin a little more pronounced as well. And that fur. Oh, I know what my number one is. Boom. Got it. Yep. I don't think there's really a doubt about that one. I'm a big Cole Porter fan, and Joan and Paul's cover of Let's Do It is just amazeballs. I believe the only place to get it is on the Tank Girl movie soundtrack. But it's worth it. Totally worth it. I mean, I like that whole soundtrack. I'm not trying to sound like I'm putting the soundtrack down. I love it. I think the Ice-T song is maybe the worst on there. But even it's pretty good. Veruca Salt, Bush, Bjork. My God, what a soundtrack. Hole. Let's do the outside. Sometimes when you're broadening your lines, it's a nice way to do course correction as well. Like if you want something a little bit bigger, broaden the outside line. If you want something a little bit smaller, broaden the inside line. I don't like that at all. I don't know why I did that. Much better. And you know what? That one, there is a muscle there, but it's making it look like a bone. I don't like that either. We don't want that. Just keep it simple. And armor's going to have dings and scrapes and scratches. Always remember that. I might have more than one Joan Jett song on here. Maybe I should not do that. Maybe I should keep it to one cover song per artist in the top 5. Otherwise, I might just fill it with Joan. Disturbed Sound of Silence was pretty good, not gonna lie. That might make it. Didn't somebody covered Simon and Garfunkel recently too, right? Am I imagining that? I want to say there was a recent Simon and Garfunkel cover that I liked. Damn fly. So one thing I like to do when I do metal, especially the more primal it is, like this is going to be pretty primal. So metal, when the edges are cut, um, depending on the way it's cut, we'll say most of the time though, it's going to um, show like the striations in the metal. I pretty much always, when I'm doing primitive, where's my light source? Where did I say it was coming from that direction? Okay. So when I'm doing primal metal, I make sure that I do those striations on the side. And this chick's armor is also going to be very hammered upon. So now keep in mind, I mentioned it earlier and I went over it a bunch in the prior couple of videos on this particular piece. Since this piece is a quarter page, the more time I spend on stuff like this, the more time I'm going to have to spend in the last step. So just remember to cut back on your tendencies if they're getting in the way of your productivity. The more detailed I make this, the harder and longer the shading and coloring steps are going to be. See what I mean? So, know thyself. Excuse me, goodness. That's part of the stuff I've been dealing with. I actually know a bunch of people going through that same thing. Sinus infections going around, bronchitis going around. So this line here is a good example of a shade line, like in comic books. That I talk about a bunch. When you shade with the line, make it like that. That's shading a line. And sometimes I'll do that if it's just black and white, no, grayscale. Not going to show veins on her. I almost did. She's too furry for her veins to be seen, though. Okay, striations. And the striations on the metal, it falls into, probably my favorite thing to say on here. Just remember your materials, because so few do. Not all material will look the same. They have different lusters, they'll fold differently, they'll break differently. So it's just part of research. That will lead to what is probably my second favorite thing to say on here. Do your research. A lot of art is research, especially, character art, doing stuff for other people. Just because I'm doing all this shit freehand does not mean you should. I highly recommend not doing it freehand. Only do things freehand that you are, comfortable with. And if you missed the other videos, we also had on this piece, we also had a character design sketch, rough sketch phase. So we spent time playing with shit to get it where we wanted. So again, research, research, research. Dax's rule for art number 1. Dax's rule for art number 2, material, material, material. Oh, well, that looks horrible. So the strap is going to take precedence. I think I did that last. I did that last and didn't spend much time on it. That's why that looks so bad. Strap's going to take precedence. Maybe there? Yeah. Like that. We'll give it some weathering. Shade line. See how it's thicker on the side where the light's going to shade it. Shade line. That's just an outline. Man, y'all been so quiet this week. I know everybody's got a lot of shit going on, though. I know in my little circle, there was a pretty big death the other day. So I'm not going to give any specifics, but if you could send your thoughts, blessings, prayers, whatever you prefer. to a good friend of mine. And then alternatively, right afterwards, there was some of the best news for someone else dear to me. So it's the circle of life. And it moves us all. Oh, you know, it was good. T-Pain's War Pigs was really good. I kind of want to put that up there. Shatner's cover of Common People was pretty fucking cool. Kind of want to put that up there. I might put that up there. So, if you missed before, this is where my light source is. So the light source is coming from the front right, which is something that I need to keep in mind when I'm doing these details, because I can do shade lines like that. I don't want to do too much because it is going to have some shading. But when I do shade lines, I'll keep that in mind. No crosshatch. I don't do crosshatch anymore. This top 5 is hard. No one. I can't recall the name of the girl, the lady, the woman, the artist who did Help Me Make It Through the Night originally. What was her name? Old country artist. Well, not old country artist. And Willie's cover is just so good. Oh man, I don't like the Chili Peppers original stuff, but I like their cover songs. Their Love Roller Coaster is really good. You know what? Actually, that reminded me of one that's going to be on here. Yeah, that's a definite. Anyway, the Chili Peppers. So I don't really like Chili Peppers. I like Give It Away, but that's about the only Chili Pepper original song I like. And I'm not saying the Chili Peppers aren't good. I mean, obviously they're good. And I love Flea as an actor. I really do. But maybe that'd be a good top five. Top five singers turned to actors. Bad Bunny's probably going to be on mine. Anyway, I've never really liked the Chili Peppers. I recognize that they're good, and it could change. When I was growing up, I did not care for Pearl Jam, and now I love them. I love them so much. I'm spending way too much time on this. Quarter page, quarter page, quarter page. You gotta remember quarter page. And then that could be a shade line right there too, honestly. Oh no, because it's coming from above. Never mind, don't listen to me. One here though. But we're gonna do shading, so I need to stop. I need to stop that. Okay. What have I got now? 3? I'm powering. I'm powering through them. I'm killing myself with the one per artist. I'm wanting to put more Joan Jett up there. The Beatles' Twist and Shout. That's a classic. That might be on there. U2's All Along the Watchtower. U2's Paint It Black. That was pretty fucking good. That was pretty good. think when I was doing my sketch, I forgot where the light source was. Either that or I did this before I decided. So this is the step where you also correct errors, of which you're going to have them. It's kind of the same when I'm painting. When I'm painting miniatures and stuff, it's pretty much the same. I have a detailing phase where I fix all my wrong shit. Speaking of painting, I actually have a kill team on the way. I will have to paint it because I want to take it to Battle Barge this year in September. So, let me know if you want me to paint on here. I could. Painting, I take forever to paint. My God, perfectionist that I am. All right, I don't want to put too much detail on her spaghetti strap, because if I do, it's going to make it look like her hair. But we'll put a seam though. Yeah, I'll just leave that as is. We'll also suggest that it's a lighter color. I don't think I'm going to put much detail on these straps. I'll probably just tatter them a bit, weather them. And that's it. What is that? That's her unders. I'm not sure how I want to handle that. We'll do some shade lines on her unders. That's what we'll do. If it was a color piece, it'd be, of course, a lot easier to pick her unders out, but we just want to do something to draw eyes. To what makes it stick out as her unders, or unmentionables, whatever you prefer. Pantis. Crotch protection, whatever you want to call it. Oh, my foot is asleep. You know, it's funny. I made coffee for today's stream, and it just finished brewing. And the sun is so hot, I kind of don't want it. Yeah, see, I'm actually spending more time on this than I wanted. I was just gonna, like I said, weather them and move on. And once you get really good at line art, you can actually get to a point where you can just use thicker lines as detailing, just about no matter what. Speed detailing. Oh, a little too close. With the Apple Pencil, if you get close enough to the screen, it will draw. That's the thing about it. It's pretty sensitive. So, only get close to the screen when you are ready to go. Baby, I'm ready to go. That's going to be stuck in my head all day now. funny thing, in the late 90s, I was just in love with that band, Republica. Lead singer, Saffron. I wonder where they are now. I should look them up. I mean, it was so bad I was going and getting their imports at the record store. Yes, record store. All right, I think we're done there. Oh no, I need to hit the. Let me hit her fur a little bit. It's not very distinct. It's going to look kind of silly when it's shrunk. It's real quick, since I have this fur fetish. Real quick. There, and then I got to get the midriff real quick. Because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to turn like a 3-hour piece into a 7-hour piece. You don't want to do that. And yes, I do that sometimes for a couple of reasons. Unintentional sometimes. You just get inspired. You can't stop yourself. Sometimes I'll do it just as a token of appreciation for people. Sometimes I'll color a black and white to give them for advertisement, stuff like that. I'll tell you this, that only ever happens when as I say, pencil was talking to me. Um, that's what I call the feeling that an artist gets when you're just super inspired. Like you're wanting to do something, but something's drawing you somewhere else. I call that feeling. There's two different descriptions of the same feeling. They can have different effect. It can have different effects, but when you're just really inspired to do something and you can't help it, that's the pencil talking. And that feeling is actually that right there is why a lot of artists always take a pad and pen or sketchbook or backpack. That's why a lot of artists will always have art supplies with them of some medium or another, because they don't want to miss out when inspiration hits. All right, that's it. That's all I wanted to do. Yeah, I like it. I don't know why that one leg line is so much bigger than the rest. That is going to draw the eye in a bad way, so we are going to fix that. I don't know what happened there. Was that today or was that yesterday? I don't know. That's weird. That's much better. If we'd left that would just, no one could help but look right at that. Okay. I don't need that anymore. The background. So I do want. Nope, 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 nope. What am I doing? Separate layer. Turn the opacity down on your sketch. And then I want to. I'm not going to do much here. I just want to get some of the wood striations going. I thought about a lot of stuff on this pillar. I thought about like putting a wanted poster, and I might still do that. I'm going to do that. Because that'll look cool. Actually, let's go a step further. Oh, and you know what we could do? We could do the old. You see what I'm doing right now, right? This is exactly what I told you not to do. That's all right. The guys are good to me, so they're getting a little bit extra out of this one. That's all. Yeah, that looks cool. Like I said, when I do detail, I want it to make sense, to matter. No shit tons of belts and pouches for me. Instead, you get cool daggers and wanted posters. Now, you might be asking why I did this as a separate layer. Well, there's multiple reasons. So, um, when I'm doing black and whites, well, actually, when I'm doing something that's shaded, that's not just straight black and white, uh, I will do the background on a different layer because one of the benefits with digital art is that um, anything you save with your digital art, you can repurpose or use in a different way or um, play with. Plus, they might kick it back, so they may not want the background. There's all sorts of reasons to do your background on a separate layer. Um, I'm also going to, add some paint, like I said, to the background. So I want it to be separate. Oh, I see. That's why I did that. Okay. Another thing we can do with the background is we can add cool effects. Oh, that's metal. I forgot about that. That is metal, so that needs to be taller. What was I talking about? Oh, backgrounds. So we can also do cool special effects with the backgrounds, like perspective blurs, stuff like that, or motion blurs. So if your main characters are moving, it will look like the back. You can make it look like the background is moving because you don't want to make the characters look like they're moving. The chaos spawn that we did to get chaos beast, Freudian slip. The chaos beast that we did together was a good example of that. We did with the background. We did a motion blur. Yeah, yeah. Okay. I see that, but you are going to see the wood. Okay. I should have gone ahead and done the wood beams. Oh no, because I was going to do the wood beams with a paintbrush. That's right. What is that? That's background wood beams. Okay. So the wood beams on the table and the back wall, I'm not going to do in line art. I'm just doing the table and that one pillar as line art because that's what I want to do. And then we'll go through with a paintbrush and do all the beams that aren't the pillar. Oh, no, that's not where the light is coming from. The light's coming from here. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time with my lighting on this piece. I wanted the flagon handle to kind of look like reminiscent of a weapon, what I was going for. That's why it looks like that. Again, when I do details, I like details that matter. Say something. Tell 1,000 words, yeah. Oh, that angle is horrible, though. Who did that? That's horrible. Horrible angle. much better. Man, that would have killed the whole picture. Talk about drawing the eye. I don't know anybody who's not going to be looking at the mug. So, to have made such a big mistake on something that draws so much attention would have been horrible. What's up, Carrie? I see you. Where you been? Oh, no, you're good. There's no... None of y'all are on schedules as far as I'm concerned. You good. This is for y'all, and slightly for me. Good portion of why I'm doing this is for me. Hermit that I am, I need the discipline, but also to force myself to be social. What was it? I think it was Jim Carrey said about solitude. You get addicted to it. Oh yeah, right there. Okay. And then what I want to do is I'm going to group these, but I'm going to turn it off because that is not our focus. I'm then going to reference this, add a layer, and then what reference does is reference creates a border so that you can simply drag and drop. So it'll count the line art that we did as a border for dragging and dropping. And then after you do it, it's going to ask you, would you like to continue filling? You just hit yes. You're not really hitting yes, you're just hitting continue filling. You understand what I mean. Whatever I'm supposed to say there, I said. And then you can just tap, 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 tap. Oh, tap, tap. Ooh, nope, not that. Tap, tap. You get the idea. Oh, but if you miss, bad things happen. And if you have broken lines, it will not accept your border request. You will get an epic fail. But I was about to say, I noticed as soon as I hit it, I got a broken line right there. I think right there, yeah. Get the color back, get back to it. Continue filling, yes. So, that color has no hue to it. There's no color in that color. It's just a shade. So the printing will not print it in color. Now, you could just color the piece and hand it off to them, and the printer would still print it in, their colorless fashion for a non-color piece. But the issue with that is um, you don't really know what Gus Hush, what a color is going to look like when they take the hue out of it in that process. Okay, I think that's all that I want to do really dark. Maybe her. We'll do this. Oop. Oh, you know what we should do? We should also do the bugbear's nails. That'd look cool. Not hers, but the bugbear's. I might still do... Let me go ahead and add a little bit of finger to her. Just like that much. Because it looks kind of wonky without it. Maybe a little bit more. That'll work. Okay. Oh, and maybe her eyes. Maybe her eyes too. No. We'll do that one the next shade down. So, this is where we tidy up. Tidy up, tidy up. Tidy up. I want the rings to stick out, so I'm going to do them a different shade. Even though they're probably the same metal. We'll do it the next shade down. Tidy up. Pretty sure there was a little piece that I missed, but I can't remember where it was. Damn. Oh well. Make sure there's nothing else that I want dark. I don't think there is. Oh, the studs would be cool dark. We'll do that. Gauges. The gauges would be cool dark. Yeah. Ah, I knew it. There it was. Found it. Okay. And then a little bit lighter. There's going to be a lot in this one. This is probably going to be all the leathers. May not actually be light enough. We'll see. Oh man, look at all those spots I missed. Those little bitty spots that I missed. When you get back, Carrie, you'll need to tell me what concert you, or tell us what concert you went to. Faux show. Okay. And I still got 2 top 5s to put out there. Man, oh man. I thought so. I'm gonna go ahead and put this here as well, just so it sticks out. Nope. Damn. So that belt is part of her um, skirt, all these straps, so they're all going to be that color. It's probably going to look a little redundant, but it's just, I mean, that's the way it works. That's what it is. We'll even, okay, yeah, that is wrong. Yeah, I thought that I had remembered that it didn't, that I didn't do, yeah, okay, much better. So that's probably gonna be like, I don't know, what is that? Is that her leg? Can't be her leg. Gotta figure out what I did there. I might have erased something. So we need more straps is what we need. There. We're not gonna get too complicated, so we'll leave it at that. Problem solved. Moving on. Except that you can't tell where the, okay, yeah, I see what the problem is. It's gonna be like that, and like that. Got it. No, I made that way too big. Nope, that's her shoulder. Damn. do? I need to fix that because that's going to hinder work later. I think it's right there. I think it's right there. I bet it was right there. Yep. So she's going to have a couple of different colors of leather on her. Because if I do all of that the same color, you will not be able to make anything out. Will not look good at all. In fact, we may, for her metal, like her buckles and stuff. Are you kidding me? Alright, that's going to come up later as well, so I got to fix it now. I thought I handled that. It's probably that right there. Just in case, we'll do that as well. But pretty sure it was that first one. Yep. Now we'll do that, that, and that. Oh no, they've got yellow eyes. I'm thinking of 40k orcs have red eyes. But we'll do that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Okay, and then a little bit lighter. And we can fix these later, so don't get too hung up on it. Oh, I see a part that I missed. When I notice something I miss, I tend to go fix it right away, because otherwise I will lose track of it. I just want to make sure that I don't do the same thing with what I was working on. There's another one. When I do. Okay, so get that last color, revisit that last layer, fix her shorts. And that ring. And her top. Oh, you know, I saw that earlier and I forgot to fix it. Yep, yep, yep. I'll go ahead and do that as well. All right, so we're on this layer. Is that all I want to do over here? How bad would it look if I did this? I don't think it'll be that bad. I think the wraps are gonna break it up. Except for there. Yeah, yep. Maybe. We'll see. Go ahead and give it a shot. It's not too bad. Okay, so for her, I think I want her spaghetti strap to be this color. Continue filling. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then these. Up. Let's just go ahead and fix that because that's going to affect us later. It's right there. Continue filling. Actually, no, let's just do that. And then, so for her hair, what we're going to do is we're going to take reference off. And I'll show you why. A couple of ways to do this. Now you can just color, as I'll always say. Maybe this is Dax's rule number 3. Coloring is therapeutic, it's cathartic, so color. But you can also, if you make a border, make your own border, you can just drop it in. But if reference is on, reference is going to take priority over the borders, so just remember that. And here's why we turned it off, because we're going to do this. I don't like that. We'll fix that in a second, though. And then drop. But let's fix that. Maybe there. Yeah. And you can honestly kind of cheat a little bit with your layers. So if you've got something like, that her lighter fur color is going to go under that. So if we do that next, for instance, which we probably will, yeah. So we'll drop it a bit more. We'll do another layer, but we're gonna do it there. Okay. It always makes your layer above where you're selected. So this layer is a lighter color. Oh, let's turn reference back on. So if I were to drag and drop, it would go under the other darker color no matter what. So instead of having to go back and do another border because there's no distinct lines in the line art on her hair on purpose, I did that on purpose because I want to look like a gradual darkening. Um, oh, no distinct lines on her mouth either apparently. Oh yeah, or her lips. I need to do her lips darker. So anyway, since I didn't Ugh. What was I saying? Since I didn't do distinct lines for her hair because I wanted it to be a gradual darkening, um, I can just drag and drop it and it will go under the layer that we did her hair on. Tricks of the trade, tricks of the trade. Continue filling, yes. Now, I didn't think about her unders. I might do her unders darker. I think that's what I'm going to do with her lips. So we're going to hit the, so this button here is your grab color. You hit that, you pick up the color. So I picked up the color from the armor, her armor. We're going to go back to that layer. Now here's where it gets tricky. See how I tried it? Well, you can't see because you can't see the pencil. I tried to draw on it, but I can't because it's under there. So if I pull this one up here, now I can draw on it. And it goes over that lighter color. See? I'm not going to do this with the orc. I don't think I want the orc to have darker lips. I don't think. I'm still thinking about it. Maybe. We'll see. Now, one thing I do want to do is I want to go back to a lighter layer. Probably that one. So I'm going to take the color, grab that, or color select, grab that. Color this in. And we're really almost done. You're just picking out the things that you need to at this point. Those rings should probably be darker. We're going to make those rings darker. Okay, we've got a lighter color than the orc skin right there. So we're going to grab that color again. And then we're going to use it on her belt. What just happened? I'm not sure what just happened. Oh, my thumb hit the... My thumb intruded. Okay, so we need to go back to... We'll grab that color because we need to go back there since we're here. Touch that up and touch that up and touch this up. And then we'll grab that color again. We'll go back to that layer. Is there anything else I want to do? I kind of want to leave this her strap. Oh, I missed some fingers. That might mean I missed. Yep, that finger. I kind of want to leave her straps like that. Maybe. How bad would it look? Nah, I like it. I like the white of her straps. But we are going to grab the darker. Grab, oh, you can't do it when color drops on. Grab the darker, go back to the darker, and then we're going to color these rings dark. Remember, the only reason I didn't color the top rings in the same color we're using for the metal is because they would not have stuck out. They're going to have some pretty heavy shading where they are, so it wouldn't have looked that good. Sometimes you're going to sacrifice realism for look. And we're also going to do There's going to be a lot of shade there as well, but I wanted to knock that out. We might be done with the color section. Maybe do one more lighter. I might do one more lighter. Yeah, that's cool. It's small, but I think it looks better. And we can also do her fingernails in this color. Almost forgot about those. This damn gnat. Okay, that's really it. As far as colors go, that's really it. So we'll go up here. We'll take off reference. We don't want that. We want to make a layer. Um, a really good one to use is multiply. I'll use multiply, and I'll probably go to 75. And then I will take probably the middle of the shade that I use. So this one, we'll take that shade. You want a nice middle, um, non-saturated color when you're making shades. Now, you can, with multiply, you can use the color of your scene in your shade is one really great thing about it. So if you know that you want purple, like if there's purple lighting or there's a lot of purple environment, then the lighting's going to reflect the purple on your subject, on the objects. Then you may want to put purple in your shade. But of course, we're not dealing with purple today. So, and then you could blend or not blend, merge. You could merge all these together, and then you could do a clip layer with your multiply. I'll do that sometimes, depending on the piece. And that way you don't get outside the lines, but we don't need to worry about that. We don't need to worry about outside the lines. What we will do though is so I can go grab some of that coffee, we'll take a intermission. So I'll be thinking about my last two top five, and then we'll come back and do the shading in just a minute, but take five. We are back. All right. Let's do it, Joan Jett and Bowisberg. Help me make it through the night, which I misspelled, of course. Hmm. The Boss Hoss's word up is pretty good. Pretty good. Oh man, I know what it is. I know. In fact, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this because I just love this one so much. Yeah. Oh yeah. For multiple reasons. I love that one for multiple reasons. All right. So this is our shade layer. Again, it's coming from the front right. I know to you that meant nothing, but it's coming from the front right, I promise. So what we're going to do is, because I imagine it being like a torch light, so it's not going to be very big. Um, maybe like that big. And this is like the cartoony slash, anime shading. This is not the we want everything to blend nicely shading. Um, and this does take longer than like a blended shading. Blended shading can actually be really super fast. So this takes longer because it's more detailed, but it's just the way I like doing it because it's my style. Um, it's my party. I can cry if I want to. That it's gonna affect her brows a bit because she's an orc. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Okay, so let's do that right quick. Let's do that right quick. Let's select her skin color and then we'll darken it ever so slightly. And here's why. Here's a nice trick for doing shaved heads. And that's what that line is. That line was a reminder. Then, ta-da! Her head has been shaved. Yeah. And I'm not very smart, so I tend to do one thing at a time with my shading as well, because otherwise I'll forget or lose track and not fix it, and it'll look like shite. Oh, that's from the top. So, and this is digital art, so you could, if you're having trouble with shading, like your light sourcing, then you could actually, I mean, you could make a cheat for yourself, kind of like a light measuring tool, light ruler, just by making a separate layer and then doing your light source on it, and then everything that's on the opposite side of it you would know to shade. Make sense? I'll be honest, I've had to do that before. Maybe once. I think it was only once, but still, I did have to do it. So don't feel bad if you have to do it. What is that? Oh, that's her. That's right. That's her shoulder muscle. Her back shoulder muscle. Shoulder back muscle. I don't know what that muscle is called. File all that under. I'm stupid. There. There. Oh, that also reminded me about the bugbear. We need to do that with the bugbear too. Let's do that right quick before I forget. Okay, so the bugbear, we need darker than that. I don't know what layer we use this on. I really don't. But we'll do it on the same layer as we did the orc's head is what we'll do. And then we'll try it with that same color. See how that looks. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, grab our color back, go back to the shading. I almost forgot about that. All right, now here's a trap with illustration. The cheekbones are such a trap because the bigger the cheekbone, the more prominent the cheekbone, the more shading it's going to cast. And that might take up like the whole side of their face. This one gets me a lot because I want to do like the whole side of their face. But then it's going to be a whole lot of the same color, um, and it may detract. So sometimes, like I said, you sacrifice realism for looking cool. Like right here, I mean, honestly, it's probably going to look a lot like this. Oh, I missed the bottom. Okay. It's probably going to look like that, which doesn't look too bad, but if it's a color picture, you might, and if it's really dark, you might just lose some of the stuff you want to focus on. So if you're doing something, and it's going to detract too much from the picture, it's torchlight as well. So it's not going to be super heavy on the shading. If it's going to detract too much from your picture, you may just want to not do it. Although it's not detracting too much, but if we do that, then we gotta stick with it. So it's also going to be like this. And like that. It's like this and like that, and but see, if I do that, then it takes away from her shaved hair. So I don't know if I want to. But we'll keep it. The reason we're going to keep it is because, and we have to do it. If we do it, we have to do it everywhere. The biggest reason we're going to keep it is because the closer we get to the light source, um, Well, the brighter everything's going to be. So the bugbear won't be as dark as her. It'll look kind of cool. But that means that we have a lot of shading to do. Now, since it's digital art and since you can just border and drop, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to take longer, but it might. What you can do is you can just, if this is easier for you, a lot of people find using the um, eraser a lot easier. So what you can do is you can border everything, and then, especially if it's darker, if it's a darker picture, you just want to do this anyway. And then you can erase what the color or what the light is actually hitting, like so. Makes sense? So if you're doing a lot of shade, you probably just want to use your eraser. Um, Maybe here. But if you do this, you got to remember to make it global too. So you got to do it with all of it. Okay. And don't feel bad if you got to use trial and error too. It happens. That lack of line going all the way through is really throwing that whole arm off. Crazy how that works. See what a huge difference that made? Isn't that weird? You're probably seeing what I was talking about with the more detailed you make your prior stages, the more you have to do later. Not sure why, but this orc kind of reminds me of Alona Mar. I mean, I probably do know why, but you know what I mean. It was unintentional. Maybe a little smaller. She's probably a little smaller than Alona. She's more like Ronda Rousey size. Dude, give me a D&D movie with Ronda Rousey and Alona Mar playing orc chicks. That would be so damn cool. And sexy. Just love orc chicks. Not sure why. Oh. Let's grab that color and go back to the orc skin because we got a missing splotch. Nailed it. And the head's going to cast a shadow as well on the stuff below it, so don't forget that. Like there-ish. Maybe a little bit lower. Maybe there. It's better. That's not how that would work. It would be like that. That's not how that would work. You would be able to see that. This fur is going to be the end of me. Stinking fur. I should have done less shade. Then the fur would have ended me less. And honestly, I may not even be doing... I think it's just because of that fur. Let me do the fur. The fur is playing with my mind. It's playing an optical illusion because it's making it look like I didn't do enough shading. I think. I may just not done enough shading. And remember, the objects that are being hit by the light not only cast a shadow, but have shadows. And you think, Dax, that's stupid. Of course I know that. You say that. But remembering the global stuff is a lot. A lot to remember. And again, do your research. And know your materials. Because different materials luster differently, which means they'll have different shade. Or shading, excuse me. The shade's probably about the same, but the materials that they're shading onto, that may change because of, yeah. So still, global. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So we'll get that. We'll go back to her clothing, which is there. Fix that. Get our shade color, go back to the shading, which is there. Boobage, just gonna shade all that. Honestly, it's probably a little bit more. Yeah, we'll just say it covers that up because that wrinkle is really throwing everything off. Yep, much better. Okay. Continue all this fur work. Stupid fur. I knew this fur was going to be the death of me, but I really wanted to do the fur for some reason. What's going on? Are we on the wrong layer? Nope. We're not on the wrong layer. We got the wrong color? Yep. I thought I selected it. I guess I didn't. That's right, I forgot about her rib cage. So that's actually going to look like that. That's probably going to cover all that. Bigger. Yeah, I'd like to see, I wonder how Lona Mars' acting skills are. I'd like to see her play an orc chick in a D&D movie. Michelle Rodriguez as a barbarian was cool and all, but give me a Lona Mar playing an orc chick, please. That'd be so cool. Fiona from the Warcraft film. I loved. Absolutely, I forgot that actress's name, but she was Fabu. This part of the process is probably boring as hell to you, but it's the most stress relieving part of the process, ironically for me. Um, the the concepting, the line art, those are so much more stressful, and this is where you get to take it easy and just have fun with the coloring. Shading is coloring. That's what it is. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Nope, nope. Where's her skin? Is that her skin? That is her skin. Okay. This is where I want to be redundant again and say, color every chance you get. Hush. I know what I'm doing. It's my class. Ooh, what did I miss? was one big line. What did I miss? No one will ever know. Actually, her arm is going to cast a shadow there. So we'll go ahead and knock that out, and then we'll do the rest. No, actually, will it? No, it won't. It won't. Because she's holding it up the side. Yeah, it won't. Not really. Now, alternatively, you could have just we could have just shaded this whole thing with the merge feature I was talking about earlier, and then erased light parts. Since she's so heavily shaded, but since I did them both together, it would have been just as much work to take off the shade on the bugbear because the bugbear is going to have less lighting on her. So it would have ended up being probably more work to do it the other way, I think. Ah, the damn fur. Almost done with the fur. Forever. I also think I know what my top 5 is. Pretty sure I know what my top, or my number 4. Pretty sure I know what my number 4 is. Make her hips a little more pronounced. Yeah, that's much better. She's sexy. It's one sexy orc. All right, her hair is going to be a lot like the damn fur. We are not going to spend as much time on the bugbear's fur as you might think. It's going to be one of those Illustrator liberties that we take to keep it looking good. Contrast is really, when it comes to illustration, contrast is really the name of the game. Not blending, but contrast. Actually, that's one of the names of the game. The main name of the game with illustration is probably just, mood, characterization. Um, since you're cutting a lot of corners, you don't, you want to, well, I guess it's the same thing I'm always saying. You don't want to detail shit that is useless. Like everything that you do in illustration, you want to point to something, um, even when even when it's a negative. So like the stuff that you erase, the whites. Remember me saying that? Perfect example. Okay, so remember how I was saying I wanted the whites to stick out, or the not the whites, the wraps to stick out. So I left them the white. I was thinking about making them a gray, but I left them white because I wanted them to stick out. So that's what I'm talking about. Even everything you don't do. Everything you don't do is going to have a purpose as well with illustration. That's all I'm saying. And I guess you could argue it's that way with all arts, but I'm talking about illustration. That's not me disrespecting any other form of art at all. I respect the hell out of oil painters. I cannot paint for oil or with oil for the life of me. I'm sure if I spent years on it like I have on this, I could, but it's kind of backwards from illustration, oil painting, and watercolors too. So we'll do a little bit more. Yeah. And then you can also, you can have fun with the outlining and borders like I showed you before, doing stuff like this. What did I miss? I don't know what I missed. Yeah, she's kind of cool. Although I do need to do some of this to clear that up, because that looks kind of weird. In fact, that still looks kind of weird. Maybe there? That's better. There? Yeah, that's better. Okay. It was making it look more like a smoke plume than hair. Don't want that. Now eyes are gonna catch a little shade as well. Don't forget that. Oh, I don't know what happened there. Kind of tapered off. Oh, our tooths. That lip, probably some of this lip. Probably some of that lip. I like her. I like that orc. And you can see how little time this takes as compared to the line art. It's kind of funny because most people would think that the coloring and shading and all that takes the majority of time, but honestly, when you're doing character design, it's far quicker than the rest. Because really almost done. Remember, the bugbear's not going to have as heavy shading. This arm will. This arm will be the darkest part of her. Maybe that leg down there, but and you can use the borders here. So we just border all this off. Maybe catch like that. Come up here. This is going to come all the way into there. Like that. Ta-da. Oh. Actually, let's do a little bit more. Not add too much. Now her breastplates are gonna cause a lot of shade. Like that, I think. Coming from here. Yeah, maybe actually like that. And then that's gonna cause shade. And this is where the hammered parts are gonna be really fun. Make sure to hit those with the right lighting. You can hit some of the striation. Now the striation is so small that when we shrink this down to quarter page, you won't be able to tell the shading on the striation from the line art. So um, In this picture, you don't really have to worry about it. But if it were bigger, I would. Okay, so some of the armor is gonna shade, and then the boob itself, or I guess the curve of the boob, and then down here, it's all gonna catch and culminate right around there. So, so. And this one's gonna be shading that one a little bit. But it's also shading these. I think around there. Yep, pretty good. And you can also add, hammer spots that we didn't do line art for. You can feel free to add those too with the shading. See, looks cool, right? Right there. Yeah. And the same with dings. You can put like dings in the shading. Have fun with it. That's off. It's gonna be like that. There we go. And that's off. It's gonna be like that. Remember, not as much shade as the orc. And these ladies have names. I've just forgotten them. Rendar, maybe? One of them might be Rendar. I'm horrible, I know. Rendara? Something like that. Whatever I'm supposed to say there, I said it. And another thing about, her being furry, um, I said we're not going to really focus on her fur, but the fact that she's so furry, if you like miss some spots or accidentally get some streaks on there, like that right there, you can leave it because it'll look natural. Actually, this is the leg we want to put some shade to, so we'll just do it like that. Should be enough. Yeah. Except for the shading, of course, from the... Now this one's pushing up against her leg, so it's going to be pretty close. The shadow's going to be close. So like that. But then everything's going to culminate down here. And there's also the normal shade, like so. We'll put a little shade on this muscle, like so. That looks odd. We'll go back, we'll visit that layer right quick so that we can do that. I'm not sure why I forgot that. And we'll go back. Let's come at that angle. So I really should have started at the top. I like doing top to bottom unless it's I like doing from the angle of the camera, or camera, light out. So I should have done it top to bottom. I'm going to go back to the top. Because it gives you more of a guide, is why. That's why I like doing it. So if you start at if the light's coming from the top, start at the top, work your way down. It helps guide yourself, so you don't get lost as easily. This hair is going to catch a lot of shade just because it's so close to her head. I'll do a little bit of shade from that, not too much. A little bit of shade from the mouth. What's the bottom of the mouth called? It's not the jowl. Not the jaw. Whatever I'm supposed to say there, I said it. Any artist can tell you that they're their worst critics. I mean, the cliche exists for a reason, right? So, um, when I say that I'm quite pleased and proud of how these ladies turned out, take that, take that as a lot. I, uh, I think they turned out pretty well. And when I have a piece that turns out that well, that's usually when I give something to the patrons of the piece. So it turned out so well, they're probably going to get something out of it. I might color this one up for them. These ladies deserve it. Oops. Well, that's that. Didn't even give me the 5% warning. I'm upset about that. Or maybe I missed it. Maybe I was getting a drink of my coffee. So close, too. Another 5 to 10 minutes and that would have been done. Now, I could keep going, but I always let this be my. It helps me discipline myself. Because when I used to stream, man, I'd stream for sometimes 4 hours. I would just keep going. I can't do that. Not to y'all. Not to me. The whole point of this, well, one of the points of this is discipline. All right. I may have spelled his name wrong. I may have spelled his name wrong. I can never remember how to spell Hosier's name. But, and this one's hard to find. I think you can only find this on one of his lives on YouTube. Um, Hosier did a cover of Arctic Monkeys' "Do I Want to Know." So damn good. Churches did a cover of it as well. I mean, "Do I Want to Know" is a good song, but I like Hosier and even Church's covers of "Do I Want to Know" better. Such a good song. So yeah, there's my top five. Let's do it. The Joan Jett and Paul Westerberg cover, "Sympathy for the Devil," the Gus and Roses cover. That's funny. Freud was right. The Guns and Roses cover. I'm gonna have to do a pinup of Gus and Roses now. So "Sympathy for the Devil," Guns and Roses. "I've Got You, Babe," the Butthead and Cher cover. "Do I Want to Know," the Hosier cover, and "Help Me Make It Through the Night," the Willie Nelson cover. Those are my top five. I'm pretty confident in that. My top five cover songs of all time, that was a hard one because there's so many. I've got a whole playlist that's like it's all cover songs, just called Cover Me Up, I think it's called. Anyway, I've got a playlist of just cover songs, and it's like 300, 400 songs. It's massive. I love cover songs. If they're done right. There's also some really bad ones. T-Pain, this almost made my top five. T-Pain did a cover of War Pigs that's to die for. Um, Five Finger Death Punch has a couple of really good covers. Like I said, Chili Peppers has some good covers. Love Roller Coaster, Higher Ground, both really, really good. Um, Joan Jett is, of course, the queen of cover songs. She's got so many fucking awesome covers. I love, love, love Joan Jett. That was a toughie. Anyway, the I'll probably finish up. Like I said, it's the Bugbear and Orc. They've really only got about 15 minutes left in the shading process, and that background is only going to take about 15 to 30 minutes itself because I'm just going to use a paintbrush, much like I did. It's gonna be a lot like I did with the background for the Chaos Beast. So. Um, if you're following me here, then I'll probably post it tonight or tomorrow morning as a short. Is that what they're called? Reel or short, whatever it's called. I think it's short. So I'll probably post it as a short so you can see it. Um, and if you're on my TikTok, then I'll post it there as a video so you can see it. And then tomorrow we're going to start another Chaos Marine, a Master of Executions for the Battle Barge campaign that's picking back up not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that. So tune in tomorrow for some Battle Barge goodness, some Kalem's Reach goodness, some Chaos Space Marine goodness. Make sure, and I'll remind you again tomorrow, but make sure to back Make a Monster on Backer Kit if you haven't. Um, Fans of D&D 5e and fans of Dungeon Crawl Classics and fans of me because a lot of my art. But other than that, I will catch you cats on the flip side. Oh, and always, always remind yourself, and I'll remind you, to comment with your top five or any top five you'd like to see. But most importantly, if you have any questions on digital art, illustration, or Procreate as well.